Hi, it's me, Jacqueline. Welcome to my channel. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and join me at Patreon. Link in the description. Mike and Mumi spent that whole night sitting in the garden together. Mumi told Mike that she had spoken with her parents about the apartment, and they had accepted the idea. They talked a while longer, and then just sat, holding each other. In the morning, the whole family went to see Mike off. There were tears and hugs from everyone, including Mr. Matsushita. Mike had a long flight home to do some serious thinking. He was met at the airport by his parents, and knowing how bad airline food was, they took him out to dinner. While there, he filled them in on everything, well, almost everything, that had happened in Japan. And that he and Mumi were planning on sharing an apartment this school year. They told him what they and the Matsushitas had discussed about them, and they agreed that there was something very special between the two of them. And they stood behind them in what even they decided. About a month before school started, Mike started looking for an apartment and found one about 2 blocks off campus. It was a second-floor walk-up with a view of a park. He took digital pictures, sent them to Mumi, and she thought that he had made a good choice. So, Mike paid the first and last month's rent and moved in. What he had done with Mumi the past summer, transforming into Michelle as much as he had really increased his confidence when it came to his crossdressing. So, he thought that he would surprise her with something. He started searching on the web and finally in the local telephone directory for a special shop. He finally found what he was looking for and made a telephone call. After talking for a short while, he made an appointment for early the next morning, before the shop actually opened. He was up early and on the road, as it was an hour's drive to the shop. He pulled up in front of a store, took a deep breath, got out of his car, walked up to the door, and knocked on it. He was a little nervous, but not as much as he thought he would be. A woman of about 40 or 50 was working at the counter, looked up, walked to the door, and opened it. She said, "Are you Mike?" "Yes, ma'am." "Well, right on time. Come on in." She closed and locked the door behind him. "So, you're looking for a padded girdle for yourself?" "Yes, ma'am." "Please call me Carla." "Yes, ma'am. I mean Carla. Like I explained, I'm a crossdresser, and I'm looking for something to give me a more feminine shape. I think I can help. I have a number of male clients. Some wear girdles for back support, some, like you, for a more feminine figure. What did you have in mind?" "I do have a waist cincher that I wear to pull my waist in. But I'd like something that might do that, plus give me something more in the hips and rear." "All right, let's take some measurements so we can see what we need to do." Carla took him back to the changing rooms and had him stripped to his shorts. She then measured his chest, waist, and hips. She continued, "It appears that you should have about a 38-inch hip. That, plus cinching your waist down, will give you a very feminine figure. I'd be happy with the 38 hips. And whatever we can do with the waist would be great. I'd suggest that you stick with the waist cincher. What can you get your waist down to with the cincher?" "Right now about a 32. What you really need is a 26-inch waist. That may not be realistic, but you can get close." She went on to explain that the type of padding she used was as close to natural feeling as possible, and it would feel real to anyone touching it. She picked a girdle from her stock and handed it to him along with a pair of pantyhose. He put on the pantyhose and struggled pulling up the panty girdle, but finally got it on. The zipper was almost impossible. He called to her, saying that he couldn't get the zipper up. She came in the changing room, looked at the girdle, and said, "I forgot to tell you that you needed to fasten the hook and eyes first. Here, I'll do it for you." She fastened the hook and eyes and told Mike to take a deep breath. He did, and she pulled the zipper up. It was tight. She then said, "Come on out here so I can get a better look." They walked out of the changing room into the shop. She had him stand in the middle of an area and walked around him. "How does it feel?" she asked. "It's tight, but feels good." "How do you get the waist cincher so tight?" "My girlfriend helps me." "You have a girlfriend that helps you with your crossdressing?" "Yes. She really enjoys it." "I have a number of customers that would give $1 million for a girlfriend like that." "She's not for sale at any price." Mike went on giving her a short version of his summer in Japan. "You're so lucky." "Thank you." In a way, this was her idea. She said that I would be more passable if I had wider hips and more butt. And I wanted to surprise her. "That we will do. I'll add the padding to the girdle and have it done well before she gets here. Go change back and keep the pantyhose," she said with a wink. Mike changed back into his clothes, leaving the pantyhose on, gave the girdle to Carla and paid her up front for her work. She told him that it would be ready at the end of next week. This would work out just perfectly, as Mumi was due to arrive in 2 weeks. That week a delivery service delivered a number of boxes from Japan. It was Mumi's things. Mike started to unpack the boxes and put things away. Most of it was her clothes, some books, and personal things. There were a number of smaller boxes inside the bigger boxes with a kiss on them that were marked, "Don't you dare open these until I get there." He carefully set these aside. At the end of the week, Mike went back to Carla's store to pick up the girdle. Carla was happy to see him, and the girdle was ready. She showed it to him, and you could hardly see where the padding was. "Go try it on," she said. He figured that she was going to tell him that, so he had worn pantyhose under his slacks. It was still a struggle to get it up, but once up, he fastened the hook and eye fasteners and pulled the zipper up. He felt his rear and hips, looked in the mirror, and liked the effect. He walked back out into the shop, and Carla said, "Well, very nice. Very, very nice. It does looks good on you and gives you hips. By the way, did I tell you that you have very nice legs?" "No, but thank you. The more you wear the girdle, the more you'll get used to it." "Good. I'll wear it home. Do me one favor? Once your girlfriend is back in town, stop in sometime when you're dressed and let me see." "I sure will." With that, Mike said goodbye and headed home. Mumi arrived a few days later, and Mike met her at the airport. And it was like they had been separated 2 years, and not just 2 months. All the way home, Mumi filled Mike in on what had happened at home. Once at the apartment, Mike picked up Mumi and carried her across the threshold. "What was that all about?" she asked. "There's an old custom that a groom is to carry the bride across the threshold of their new home. I know we're not married, but I just had to do it." "I love this custom," she said, wrapping her arms around his neck and kissing him. Mike gave Mumi the cook's tour of the apartment, being sure to point out the unopened boxes. Mumi smiled and said, "We'll get to those later." Over the next few days, they settled in the apartment, visited Mike's parents and the Gordons. Everyone was very glad to see Mumi again. Mike's parents had about the same talk with them that Mumi's parents had. One day, they were just back from grocery shopping and carrying the bags in the door when the phone rang. Mumi answered it. "Hello. Sachiko." "What's wrong?" That was the last thing that Mike could understand, as Mumi started talking very excitedly in Japanese, faster than Mike could understand. She also started crying. Mike was worried that something had happened. "Sam, what's wrong?" Mike asked. "Sam, Mumi, what's wrong?" he asked again. Sam said something to Sachiko, turned to Mike, and said, "I'm sorry, honey. There is nothing wrong. I'm just so happy. You remember Jeremiah, Sachiko's boyfriend? The one we called Jerry?" "Yes, of course." He asked Sachiko to marry him. And she said yes. "That's great. Tell Sachiko that I said that's wonderful news." "Have they set a date?" Sam said some to Sachiko and listened. "No, they haven't set a date. But it probably won't be until next summer." "That is just so great. Tell them both I said congratulations. And you, please don't ever scare me like that again." "I'm sorry, honey. I was just so excited for her." Sam and Sachiko continued talking for a long time. Mike put all the groceries away and started supper. Sam finally walked up behind him and just hugged him. He turned around and looked into her eyes. The only time he had seen her happier was the first time that he had told her that he loved her. So, he told her again how much he loved her, and her face just lit up. They had supper, and Sam filled him in on all the details of the engagement, including Jeremiah having to ask her father for her hand. Mike swallowed a little hard on this. Later that evening, Sam said, I think it's time we open those boxes. The two of them went to the bedroom and placed all the boxes on the bed. With two of them, it was easy to figure out what was in them. It was the wigs. They were carefully placed on the dressing table. They opened each box, all containing Michelle's clothes, and placed its contents in its proper place: bras, panties, nylons, waist cincher, blouses, skirts, shorts, shoes, and the makeup box. That left 3 boxes. Each of these had a kiss on it. Sam said, "Open that one first," pointing to one of the boxes. Mike opened it, and it was another waist cincher in black. But it looked smaller than the other. He looked at Sam and said, "This looks smaller." "It is." I figured that once you really got used to the other one, we could start on that one. He looked at her and knew there was no use trying to talk her out of it. He placed it in the drawer with the other one. She then said, handing him another box, "Open this one next." He opened it and pulled out the sexiest, silkiest, little black dress that he had ever seen. She added, "That's a present from my mother. And you'll need the black waist cincher to wear it." "She bought this for me?" "Yes. I told you that she liked you very much. And after you left, we had a long talk about crossdressers. She understands you very well." "Wow! But where can I wear this?" "We'll find some place. Now open this one." Mike opened the last box. And in it were a pair of black heels with ankle straps that looked like they went along with the dress. He said, "I guess these are from your dad?" "No. He doesn't know about you. Yet. Those are from Sachiko. Your family is just too much. I love you and I love them." "I know. I love you too. And they have also come to love you." With school starting on Monday, Misumi wanted to go out with Michelle on Saturday night. So, on Saturday afternoon, it was off to the bedroom to transform Mike into Michelle. Mike pulled on a pair of pantyhose and then went into his chest of drawers, took out the panty girdle, and started to put it on. "Something new, lover," Misumi said. "Sort of," Mike said, and he told her the story behind the panty girdle. "Put it on and let's see." Mike pulled the panty girdle on, fastened the hook and eyes, and zipped it up. He then looked at Misumi. "Looks tight. But you've got hips and a butt," she said. "It's tight, but not as tight as the waist cincher," he said as he reached in his chest of drawers again, pulling out the waist cincher and offering it to Misumi. She wrapped it around him and tightened it a little tighter than she ever had before. "A little tight, sweetheart. Got to get you down so that you can wear that little black dress," she said with a smile. He sighed a little. "And put on a bra with the forms." Again, looking in the mirror, he thought, looking more and more like a girl. Then he smiled. "Do my makeup for me." "Sure, but we have to start lessons soon." Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.